Getting in our Supta Baddha Konasana. If you have your hands on your belly, as you allow your breath to deepen, settling here, inhaling and exhaling. And as you breathe, bring your awareness to the lower belly. So that area just below the navel, in your lower belly, Svadisthana Chakra. So chakras is this concept that we have these sort of vortexes or energy centers throughout the body along the spine, and they have some different qualities to them, but they help us process, internal and external experiences. So if we think about this Svadisthana Chakra being right here in the, pelvic area, it's this, let me just even say, it literally translates to the home of the self, the abode of the self. So it's said to be the seat of our deep-seated emotions. It's also the place for creativity, even sexuality. Our reproductive organs are there. It's associated with the element of water, so it's fluid, it's creative, it's movement, it's dance, it's fun, it's vitality. It's associated with the color orange. That's the word orange shirt today. And associated with the seed sound vom. So as you breathe, if you'd like to say that seed sound to yourself, you could just silently chant vom. So today's practice is to bring the Svadhisthana Chakra into balance. So we'll have a practice that will be a little more fluid and moving and fun and creative. So feel free to make any adjustments to keep it that way for yourself. Because, an unbalanced Svadhisthana Chakra might be a little bit stuck in the to-dos, a little more rigid, even in that shadow side, might be a little bit bound by, fear or guilt. So let's try to find a balanced Svadhisthana today in our movements. As you allow your breath to deepen, let's add some movement of the body. So we'll work on some hip movements, lubricating the hips. We'll do some core work and some twists, develop courage and strength. So as we get moving, we'll bring our arms by our sides, release your arms by your sides. Inhale here and send your arms overhead, bringing your knees together. And then exhale as you lower your arms and lower your legs. Good. Inhale here with your arms down by your sides and your legs open. And then exhale as you close your legs and send your arms overhead. And then exhale as you lower your arms and open your legs. This is probably the better flow of the breath. And keep going like that at your own pace. Maybe even bringing a little ujjayi rhythm into the breath by constricting the back of the throat and making that audible quality. Bringing some movement to the hips. So maybe two more. And last time, inhaling. And then exhale. And pause. Good. And notice how that feels. Bring your hands to your outer knees. Draw your knees together and then bring your knees in towards your chest and give them a squeeze. knees. Oh, that's good. Maybe massage the back body, making little circles with your knees, massaging the sacral region. So get that Svadisthana area. And then we want to come up to seated. I'm going to bring us right up to seated. So you could roll up like a ball if that feels comfortable for you. Or you can roll to one side if you want to get to seated. And then coming to a cross-legged position. Grounding your sits bones. Give a little tone to the belly as you lengthen up through the crown of your head. And notice how you're feeling now. You're going to let your hands rest on your knees. So let's add some more movement to the spine by doing what we call Sufi grind. So that's we make circles with the spine. So imagine that your tailbone is sort of making circles on the earth underneath you. And as you move in this circular pattern, feel that you're bringing your spine into a little extension as you go forward, a little lateral stretch on the back, flexion, maybe twisting, maybe adding the head in there. So there's no right or wrong. Let it feel good. Again, expressing that fluidity of Svadisthana Chakra, the creativity, going in both directions, holding, and flowing with your breath. And you're remembering the seed sound of So another round or two. And then come back to seated. And grounding. And let's just go back and forth right now to go into flexion and extension. So maybe let the hands rest on the knees, inhaling, lifting your heart, lifting your gaze, and then exhale and press your knees away. Draw the navel into spine, chin to chest, round the spine. And you can even add a little free-up breathing, a little bit more forceful breath, inhaling, lifting your heart and gaze, and exhaling. Breathing out of your mouth if you want. Even pick up the pace if that feels good. This is your practice. If you need to go slower, maybe the back body is tight, you need to open up the back body. Maybe you need a little more fire and you want to move quicker. So see what works for you. How about a couple more rounds? And last one. And pause and notice. All right, so let's get a little more movement in the hips. So bring your hands by your side. You can even have your blocks handy if that feels better for you. If you need it, you have your arms elevated a little bit. Release your feet, plant the feet on the earth. And then let your knees rock side to side. So windshield wiping. A little windshield wiping just to get some mobility in the hips. So we're prepared for our standing work. Nice. You could even be a little bit more upright and not use your arms as much, not rely on the arms as much. You bring your hands to heart center. We did this a couple weeks ago when we were working our solar plexus, the Manipura chakra. So this gets a little bit more into the little more heated, a little bit more core work. Yep, you end up walking off your mat, like I'm already off my mat. I'm gonna be at the other end of the room in a moment. It's kind of like walking. But if you want to hold, you can even hold to one side. You can add a little twist. So see what feels right for you this morning. Yeah, we're moving back. Moving back. That's my little cushion. Oh, nice. If you are holding a twist, then go to the other side. You can even twist in both directions. See how that feels. So allowing for freedom and creativity. that you are open. See, that this feeling for our Svadisthana Chakra, we are open to new experiences, to new things, to fun, to movement. All right, and then once you're complete there, let's come on to our knees. Let's go into tabletop. So I've got a little extra cushion for my knees, which is really nice, sometimes really helpful. This is a little hard floor that we're on here. Now, if you don't want to be on your knees, you could come to standing. You could be in a chair or come to standing. Actually, I have a chair handy if I wanted to show that. But you could always do your spinal flexion and even the rotation that we're going to show from standing or a chair. So we can always modify. But we're going to start in tabletop, whether we're on our hands or our forearms. We're going to give a little tone to the belly and then deepen the cat-cow. So inhale, lifting hips, dropping belly, lifting arms. Exhale, tucking tailbone, rounding spine, dropping. Flowing with your breath. Exhaling out your mouth if you want, and in a little that Kriya breath with this cleansing. So we're letting go of any rigidity in our spine, and then in our energy, in our body. Yoga is that union of the physical body and the energetic body. So through our asana practice, we can notice where we are in life, how we're showing up. Because if we're showing up in a pose in a certain way, chances are we're showing up in life in that same way. Right? Are we a little bit more rigid in our practice? Do we strive to, who knows? All those things that show up in our practice are little cues to how we are in life. This next time you're in your cat back, hold it there, rounding the spine, dropping the head. Like you can have a little movement here if you want. Wagging your tail, rocking your head side to side. Just keep creating more space in the back body. And then release. Now come back to neutral. We're going to add some twists because they'll really start to get into the core. So you could use your entire arm, but if your shoulder is cranky, you can keep your head by your hand and just find the twist from the belly and not use your extended arm, right? So sometimes it's hard when if the shoulder is tight to extend the arm. So we'll do basically a thread the needle. So either rotate to the right, keeping your hand on your head with your elbow up to the sky or your entire arm up to the sky. And then on your exhale, rotate your torso back towards the mat, towards your towel, and then even a little bit slightly to the left, and then open up again. And go back and forth like this. Inhaling when you open to the right, and exhale when you twist to the left. And keep a little engagement to the core while you do this movement. And see if you see a little like heat generating, a little bit more nice subtle rotation of the spine. You could add that Kriya breath if you like. Now I wanted to say too, if I wasn't on my knees and I wanted to do this against a wall, you might want to peek for a moment. We really could do something like opening and then closing and even twisting to the left, right? So I have my hand on the wall or my arm can even be by my side. But just make sure if you're doing this, that your lower body isn't moving. Your hips are stabilized so we feel this rotation from the belly, from Manipura, Svadisthana. A couple more times, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling this in my belly, right? Are you feeling it? Good. It can almost be a little bit of a core work. And then, if you want, you can hold. You can hold it open into the twist. You can hold into a thread the needle if you like. You can even come down onto the side of your head on your right ear. You can extend the left arm, extending a leg onto the side. Take one or two more breaths wherever you ended up. And then slowly unwind. Before we go to the other side, let's integrate, let's notice. So let's sit back into a child's pose, whether your knees are apart or together. Up to you, yogi's choice. Do what feels right for you. Actually, I let my knees splay apart again, like in that Baddha Konasana. And I'm melting my torso between my legs. You can keep your head elevated if that feels more comfortable, even stack your head on your hand with a block. And breathe. And notice how that feels. Nice. When you're ready on that next inhale, let's rise back up to our tabletop. And we'll do that on the other side. So once again, you're starting to rotate to your left. Right? Did I do the left before? No, I did the right. Okay. I'm switching sides. Just when I switch sides, I go look at these. So opening up to your left, maybe extending the arm or keeping the elbow bent and the hand on the head. Maybe on this side, you're fine. I need to get off my knees right now. You want to do it standing? You're gonna have to do that. So just make it work for you. Flowing with the breath. Adding a little ujjayi. And exhaling out of your mouth. So you can release all those tendencies to be rigid. Releasing, this is for me, everybody. Releasing the to-do lists. The busyness. Oh my gosh. I need to definitely have a lot of work to do on this Svadisthana balancing. Good. How about 2 more? Just make sure you've gone to about this amount of repetitions on each side. I wasn't counting, just about so it feels the same. And then you can decide, you may want to fold open, you may want to take that twist into that thread the needle, even hinging forward, coming onto your left shoulder, side of head, maybe even extending your right leg, even send the right arm up to the sky behind the back. Let it feel good. Just watch it for the neck. It's actually a watch point if you're in that thread the needle, that you don't, kind of turn your neck to the side, that it's staying nice and long and it has a nice even rotation as well. Wherever you want to be. If you want to de-rotate, come back to a child's pose, that's fine too. This is your practice. I want to make it feel good. So that we leave feeling energized and more balanced. So take one more breath there, or thread the needle, or wherever you are. Come back through center, back into a wide-legged child's pose one more time. Integrating, breathing, maybe even returning to that seed sound. So now let's transition to standing. So what we'll do is, lots of options here. I'm going to offer a downward facing dog. You could stay in your child's pose, you can go to puppy pose, or we can move to our down dog. So from my wide-legged child's pose, I'll curl my toes under, bring my knees back to neutral, ground the hands, and then lift the hips to the sky. My head's between my arms, I'm pedaling my feet out. Breathing here. Nice. So keep your hips elevated towards the sky. Then come tall into the belly. Good. If I'm in my puppy pose, I'm doing the same thing, keeping my knees elevated, hips elevated, and extending my arms, so melting my heart. Yeah, good. And breathing here. Nice. If being in down dog or even being in puppy pose doesn't feel good for you, you could always do a wall dog. You can be here in an L shape with your hands against the wall. Good. Now, wherever you are, let's consider going forward to back. So you can come forward into your plank pose or leaning against the wall. Yep. Good, nice. And then go forward and back. And as you're doing this, maybe you want to even add a little fluidity. You want to drop your hips, lift your heart. You want to round and kind of going into your dog or your cat back as you go back into your dog. So feel this idea of adding a little more fluidity and fun into this movement. Whatever it is, maybe you're adding a little rotation, maybe you're moving your head. Add some creativity. You want to add more creativity to our life. Flowing like water here. Your body's forming a wave. There's nothing rigid about water. So one more round, wherever you ended up, and then start to make your way back into a standing forward fold, Uttanasana. And our standing forward fold can be, your head could be dropped down below the heart, or it could be at heart height. Good. Yeah, and breathing here. Nice. Yeah, and you can sway a little bit, shake your head yes or no. And wherever you ended up, bring that to stillness, soften your knees, and roll up one vertebra at a time. Really nice and like water. Rolling up, moving up. And then here. Like that. We start at the top of our mat. So I have my mat lengthwise because we will flow from in warrior two, we'll go to side angle and reverse warrior. So that's why I have this orientation. But it doesn't matter. You can be forward, straight ahead like normal. But bring your blocks up to the top of the top of your mat, the short side of your mat. And I'm going to start facing forward. I'm going to face this way so that I'm on my right leg. So we'll come to the top of our mat space. And we'll take a moment to ground our feet. Maybe feel around the feet. Last week we did a foot workshop. We just kind of like worked our feet a little bit. So let's not forget about that learning that we had, that awareness. So maybe roll around your feet, the big toes, the pinky toes, inner outer heel, both directions. And then see if you can ground the four corners of your feet. Maybe you can lift your toes, spread them wide, and notice what happens there. Do you feel more rooted through your feet? Do you feel more engaged with your legs? Lifting from the pelvic floor, lengthening through the crown of the head, and breathe here. We'll take a forward fold. So take a big inhale, sun breath, arms wide to the side, overhead. Exhale, hands can come through swan dive or through the midline as you take your forward fold. Hands can go on your legs, the blocks or the earth. And then rise up halfway. Let your hands climb up onto your blocks, your shins, or your thighs. Press your thighs away, lengthen the crown of your head away from your hips. Exhale, go back into your fold. And then with your hands on the earth or your blocks, send your left knee back. Your left leg back, I meant to say. And then bend your right knee. You're in your low lunge. Square your hips, lower the left knee down. You can keep your hands on your blocks, maybe at the high height, on your thigh, or up to the sky as you come into your knee down warrior one. Maybe dropping your hips, lifting your heart and gaze, and breathing here. And then let's lower our hands to the inside of our legs. So lower your hands back down, your arms back down. You can bring them back onto your blocks, bring them into a lizard for a moment. So send that right foot out to the right a little bit. You can be on whatever height blocks feels comfortable for you. And feel this nice stretch in the groin, starting to affect the outer hip and the turn for a moment. You can even let that thigh roll out. So see what feels comfortable for you. Some of you who want a little bit more, you can start to bend the elbows. You can go into your forearms. And breathe here. And you're hugging the knee in. Just feel what feels comfortable. A couple more breaths here. Like none of it feels comfortable. Breathing with it. Take one or two more breaths here.
Now we're gonna transition. So if you let the leg roll out and you roll onto the pinky toe side of the foot, bring it in so that you're planting the four corners of your foot firmly on the earth. Curl your left toes under and lift that leg. Now maybe even plant the foot at a 45-degree angle, the back foot, left one. Because we're going to open up into warrior two. So you can keep your right hand onto your block or your thigh, spin your left arm forward and up and back and open up into your warrior two. You open your right up, nice, good. And now let's flow a couple of times. So straighten your right leg, send your arms overhead. Yeah, good. The trick about being on this side, yeah. And then straighten your leg, rise up and down like this a few times. And then maybe find your optimal warrior two. So maybe in that process, you may want to draw your right knee towards the pinky toe side of the foot. You may adjust the position of the back foot. You're going in and out of it, sinking into your warrior two. Now this next time, let's hold that warrior two, really reaching our arms away, broad across your heart. Both legs are active, right? Now we're going to add some fluidity, sort of pivoting on our core in the Svadisthana Chakra. So what we'll do is we'll bring our right hand onto the thigh or either across the belly as we send that left arm overhead and hinge forward into your side angle. Then we'll come back through center, maybe bring the left arm across the belly as that right arm goes overhead into your reverse warrior. And we'll go back and forth like that a few times. And flowing at your own pace. Good, good. Keep another breath in too. Even if you don't understand this, you keep the ankle and don't let it drop it. Right? So you keep it like that. Yeah, that's it. Good. Now that's what I want to turn it in or turn it in. Yeah, even more. How's that? Is that okay? So okay. Yeah. So we're probably going to call the side warrior. So think about your hips are open to the side. Yeah. That's it. Your hips are open to the side. Yeah, so then we just kind of close up. I just work, well, I'm not changing my position. So you work on the straight, then turn it, and then your legs stable, and you're just pivoting on the legs. So one more round here, and then come back up through center and pause to go to side thoughts. Well, okay. All right, so here, now, so this is Kripalu side warrior, right? We're going to go to warrior one, so you'll see the difference. So that's when we want to have our hips go towards the front foot, the front of our mat. So pivot on the back foot, square your hips towards the right foot, send your arms to the sky. Now, if your balance is wobbly, you can keep that back foot grounded. But in Kripalu Yoga, we kind of express it like crescent lunge. So you're on the ball of the foot, the heel is lifted. It is wobbly, yes, but it's easier to keep the hips frontally oriented, I think. Good. Take one more breath here. You can lower your hands onto your hips for a moment because we're going to get ready for our balance pose. So you might want to step in with your right leg, your left leg, so you can grab hold of your blocks and plant your blocks on the high side on your mat. Bring your hands onto your blocks. Make sure your hands are underneath your shoulders. Put most of the weight into that right foot. Hold your belly. See if you can lift up that left leg until it's in line with your hip. And breathe here. Good. And lengthening. So the hands are out in front of you, underneath your shoulders. Generally speaking, the distance between your hands and your foot now is enough for your torso to be long. A little short. Probably bigger blocks on that. Yeah, there you go. Good. Now, feel that you're extending through the heel. Maybe even activating the four corners of your feet. Good. Find that length and actually notice how you show up in this posture. Again, it's a little bit of a cue into how we are in our life. Take one more breath here in this supported warrior three. Striving, lengthening.
Good. And then lower your left foot to meet your right, back into your forward fold. Let your arms dangle. And breathe here. And then when you're ready, we'll rise up halfway, letting our hands climb up onto our legs or the blocks again, until our torso's in line with our hips, getting long. Go back into your fold, and then bend your knees, release your arms, and roll up again. Just rolling up like water, like a wave. Good. Now you can actually stay right here at the top of your mat. I'm just turning so that I can really, face the screen. So you don't have to go anywhere. We will be on our left foot. So that means when you do that, you'll be facing the front of the room. So that might be good when we are ultimately in our side warrior. So I'm turning this way. So I am facing everyone. And coming to the top of our mat space again. Here we go. Connecting with the four corners of our feet. And then take a big inhale, get long. You can even add a little extension here if you like by lifting your heart and gaze. Exhale, hands through prayer or swan dive as you hinge your hips and take a forward fold. Hands, keep your head at heart height if you like, or let your head drop. Let our hands rise up and take a half lift. Lengthening the crown of your head away from your hips. Then go back into your fold, soften your knees, send your right leg back. Low lunge. Good, send that leg back. You can have your hands on the earth or your blocks. And then once you find this pose, that your hips are square, the back leg is active, you're lengthening from crown to heel, so it's a little active, and then slowly lower the knee down. Come off of the kneecap, maybe even prop under the knee if you need to. Use your blocks or your hands on your thigh, or just core strength to rise up into the knee down warrior one. Maybe even lifting your heart and gaze if you'd like to take an extension and breathe in here. Good job. Nice. Take one more breath. And then lower your hands to the inside of the leg. So again, you could be high and be on the high side of your blocks. You can be a little lower side of your blocks. You can even be on your blocks, on your forearms. You can keep the leg hugging in if that feels really nice, like maybe it's a good groin stretch. Maybe you want to, transition more into the hips and get it to the outer hips, so then you can roll to the outside edge of your foot. So find a lizard lunge that feels comfortable for you, even if you want to move in it. Again, remember, this is Svadisthana, this is fluidity, this is creativity, this is water. So maybe move. Maybe hold and breathe and notice. Notice how you are. Take one or two more breaths here. And then slowly make your way back up. If the leg rolled out, bring that foot back onto the earth so that we can curl the back toes under and go back the way we came in. So back through your low lunge. This time though, we're going to plant the foot at our 45-degree angle. So come up first and hold your low lunge. Then plant the foot. Make sure your left knee is still bent right over the ankle. Shorten your stance if this is really wide for you, right? And then we're going to roll up. So you can use the support of your left leg if you need to, or just core strength as you send your right arm up and back. And there we go. Nice. And come in and out of this a few times, just to find your warrior two or your side warrior, your Virabhadrasana two. So again, when we have our knee bent, we want to make sure it's over the ankle. And we don't want to have that knee, you don't want to roll to the middle, the big toe side of the foot, right? So that was what we talked about in foot stuff last week. And we want to make sure that the knee's kind of tracking over the middle of the foot. And yeah, good. And the back leg is active too. So you can come in and out of it a few times. So I don't want to worry too much about alignment in today's practice, but we want to make sure we're safe and our body's happy. So if there's any pain that you feel, just make adjustments along the way.
Keeping our joints protected. And now this next time, hold your warrior two. Hold the side warrior. Hips are open to the side, radiating from our belly out through the fingertips. And now let's flow into our side angle and reverse warrior. So you can let the forearm come onto the thigh as that right arm comes overhead. And then you can rise back up through the warrior two as the right arm lowers down and our left arm reaches up at that. You could actually cross the free arm in front of the belly instead. So it's a little bit more of a core activation. And breathe. And a few more rounds. And this next time, let's come all meet up into our warrior two and hold here and notice. Good. Relaxing the shoulders. Good. Now let's go into pivot into warrior one. So you can float your hands onto your hips for a moment, which helps to orient the hips now towards the front of the mat. Pivot on the ball of the back foot or keeping the back foot grounded. Your hips now face the front of your mat. Yep, arms are maybe extended now if you want, just for a moment. Taking that warrior two, warrior one, and then float your hands onto your thigh or your blocks. Find your blocks and plant the blocks underneath your hands. You may even have to step back with your left foot. So there's a distance between your two hands and your foot, you know, enough for your torso to lengthen. So, you know, so it's not, so standing split is when we have our hands, you know, close, so it's a little farther away. Yeah, good. Put the weight into your left leg, get light on the right leg. That's the leg. Yeah, so put the weight into the left leg and then start to pick up your right leg. You can even put the phone on your box. Yeah. You can lower that lifted leg down if you need to stabilize yourself. So, you know, maybe there's some strengthening that needs to happen. Yeah. So go in and out of this. Try that. Yeah. Yes. And breathe. And find length from the crown of your head. Flex your foot, extending through the four corners of your feet, going the back, that solar plexus region, the Svadisthana Chakra. Breathing, I'm hearing some good breathing. This is a lot, I know, even the supported warrior three is an active posture, isn't it? Surprising. Take one more breath. And then slowly lower your foot. Go back into your standing forward fold. Release everything. Good. And then when you're ready, you can take a half lift if you like. And then lower back down and softening your knees to roll all the way up. And notice how you're feeling now. So something we did last week for ankles and would really is appropriate for today's practice and would be a good transition to get us onto our mat. But I know it's tricky, so we're going to try it. Let's see how we go down through a Malasana squat. And what we did last week, I believe it was last week, is we used our blankets. So let's try this. Let's have our blankets. It doesn't have to be that high. I mean, you could make it even, you know, higher than that. It could be like this. Maybe that's fine, actually. I'm going to do it a little higher than I normally do. So I'm going to see how that, I'm sure it'll feel good. And then bring your heels onto your blanket. So you're coming to the sort of the middle of your mat. You've got your blanket here. Your heels are on the blanket. And your feet are about hip width apart or maybe a little wider. If you know your hips might be tight as we go down into the squat. Yeah, good. Now,
if you start to make your way down and anything doesn't feel comfortable, low back, knees, hips, then don't worry, just go down onto your back. Yeah, so if there's any tightness, just we don't want to have any pain, right? So then we can start to squat down, bending the knees. Keep grounding into your heels. That's really the trick. Ground into your heels and then draw the tailbone down to the earth. Like, yeah. Keep your hands like blocks for support. Maybe your hands are on your thighs, maybe they're on your blocks, maybe they're in prayer position between your knees. See what feels comfortable for you. None of it feels comfortable. If it's causing a lot of pain, then just come all the way down to seated, right? We're gonna ultimately all meet up in seated. We're gonna meet on the backs. Breathe. And as you're here in your Vipassana, you can draw the tailbone down and lift your heart. So you want to keep our heart elevated if you can. So it's that idea of that drawing down of the tailbone and the lifting of our heart. Take one more breath here. And then when you're ready, you can bring your hands onto the earth to help you sit down. You're really close now. And come all the way down to seated. Let's come onto our backs. And if you want, you could, spread out your blanket and come onto your back. Keep your knees bent, your feet on the earth, and lower all the way down. Kind of like we started at the beginning. And notice how you're feeling now. I'm noticing the difference. And breathing. Returning to your breath. Let's add a little forward here. So with your knees bent and your feet on the ground, press, and you might have to bring the legs in a little bit. Press your hands onto your thighs and draw the low belly down. So you're sort of pressing your hands against your thighs to activate your core and draw the low belly down. And you can release and do that a few times. So it's almost like a little bit of a pelvic tilt, a little bit of a cat-cow. Good, and breathe. Now let's do that with our legs in a reverse table. So elevate your knees so that your calves are parallel to the earth. And then again, once again, press your hands on your thighs and then press the low back, low belly down. Good. And you can even release it a few times if that's helpful, just so you can kind of get into what we're trying to do. Now, if you are releasing it, this next time, let's all hold it. That's what we want to keep for this whole practice. We're keeping the core activated to support our lower back. We're going to release our legs and send our arms up into the sky. And then we're going to extend our right leg forward and our left arm back as we stabilize the right arm and left leg. And then come back through center. And go back and forth like this. Good. Right? So the other arm and leg are right over hip and knee. Oh, good. Good. Yeah, and you're driving the low belly and the core down. So hopefully this is supportive for your low back. Yep, and just do what you can. If you need to take a rest. Yep, good. Nice. Right, that's it. Good. Now so bring them all back. And now these now I'm gonna stay. It's just what now all of a sudden when I first started to practices, I couldn't make it happen. But then I kind of then figured it out and get used to it. And keep engaging forward, driving the low back, nice and supported. Yep, good. You can If you only do, if this is really challenging, or if you feel like tugging in your low back, then maybe just do a couple of these. Good. And now let's all come back to starting place and pause, and you can even bring your knees in towards your chest, give them a squeeze. You can lower your feet on the earth. Good. All right, so we've got another set, and of course things tend to develop. So you can develop it, or you could not. You could rest and stay in constructive rest. You could go back to that first version where we're doing alternating arms and legs, or you can go to this next version where we press the low belly down. Again, if you have to, if it helps you to access that sort of root block by drawing low belly, pressing on the thighs, maybe that helps you to get there, you know? It helps me. Good. And then once you have your low back grounding down, activating the belly, maybe you're going to extend both arms and legs. Or maybe you're back to the alternating, or maybe you're resting. So whatever works for you. And only extend your legs to the height that you can keep the low belly grounding down, right? So if you go too low, I feel my low back arch. So be mindful of that. And last one. And come back through center. Just release your legs to the earth. How about that? Just release the legs down. Don't do anything. Pause. And notice how you're feeling. Oh, I know, right? Yeah, take a big inhale and exhale out with a sigh. That always feels good. Let it go. Now let's stretch out our belly by doing a little bridging. So ground your feet onto the earth. About your legs are about hip width apart. If you want, you could bring a block between your inner thighs to help activate the legs. Ground the feet and maybe your arms by your side, and start to lift your pelvis off the earth, drawing your tailbone towards the knees, lift your hips, your mid back onto your upper back, and go back and forth like that, rolling down one vertebra at a time, even tilting your tailbone down to the earth when you come down, and then tilt the tailbone up and lift and roll up, and go back and forth like that a few times. If you'd like, you could even add your arms, kind of like we did at the beginning. One more round. Maybe this next time, hold the lift, grounding through the feet, activating and drawing your inner thighs toward each other, grounding through the back of your head and maybe your arms or the backs of your hands. Take one more breath here. And then let's slowly lower down one vertebra at a time. And then bring your knees in toward your chest. Sweep your hands on your knees and give them a squeeze. You can even feel your head towards your knees towards your head. You can lower your head and shoulders and give a massage to your knees, to your low back, in circles with your knees. And go in opposite directions. Pause. Now keep your knees in toward your chest. Send your arms out like a T. We're going to add a little twist in here, finishing up with a twist. So give a little tone to the belly once again. You can send your legs to the right gently, and then back through center and over to the left. And go back and forth like that. So it takes a little core strength to do this. So this is a little core exercise in and of itself. Are you keeping the backs of your arms down? You know, for stability. Your arms are open. If you want, you could start to let the legs go a little bit more each time. And then finally, this next time your legs go to the right, hold them there. Now, it may be that you want to have them on block, and you might want to prop your legs. You may even want to extend the bottom leg, just let the top leg go over. So see what feels comfortable for you in this twist. And you can, again, keep your shoulders on the earth. Maybe let your gaze go the opposite direction of your, yeah. See how it feels in the shoulders. I mean, in theory, sometimes we say like our shoulders could come down, but sometimes we can't, and that's okay. The one shoulder doesn't come down. Yes, you can prop under a lifted shoulder. Keep your arm by your side, you don't have to extend. So let this feel nice. Breathe here. Another breath or two. And slowly make your way to the other side. Good, and making any accommodations, it might be a little different on the other side. Yeah, dropping under the knees. The shoulder, the extended arm. That shoulder is cranky. Been trying to close these classes with a little bit of a restorative feel. That's so important to just slow down. Life is busy. Especially if you have that excess Svadisthana, right? This idea of always, always being busy, always with the to-do lists. So I want to slow down. And when you're ready, we'll come out of that. So slowly come out of that posture. Back through center. Move your props out away for a moment to just come back to neutral and pause and notice. Now, this is a little bit of a setup. So see if you feel like you even want to do it. If you're happy where you are, you could just stay there in your constructive rest. We can go back to Supta Baddha Konasana. But I was going to offer us to take our bolster and even a block or two to elevate our bolster at sort of an incline, kind of like something like that, so that you can sit up right behind the bolster, your feet in your Baddha Konasana, and then take this gentle reclined posture, letting the arms drape on either side of the bolster. And that's how I thought I would have us finish and go into our Shavasana today. So if that's not too much effort, if it's too much effort, I understand. Don't worry. Stay where you are. Is it good? Yeah. Yeah. This is nice. Yeah. Great. And then you keep your arms by your side about the much, let them rest on the belly. Svadisthana Chakra. Take a big inhale and maybe exhale it out of your mouth, letting go of any tension. Sometimes tension creeps in in our yoga practice. If it does, maybe we have to wonder why, right? But maybe later, not now. Wonder why later. Staying here. Few minutes to integrate the work that we did. And balance. Energetic center. Movement to fingers and toes. You draw your knees together and roll to one side. Or sitting up off the prop, however it's easier for you to get out of this position. Carefully. Coming back to a comfortable seat. Whatever that is for you now. Grounding through sits bones, toning belly, lengthening through crown of head. Let's just finish with one little mudra, one hand mudra that supports Svadisthana Chakra. Let's go into our Shakti mudra. So the way you do that is you bring your thumbs in toward the palms of your hand, your thumbs into the palm, wrap the index and middle finger over the thumbs, and then bring your palms of your hands together and let the other two remaining fingers, pinky and ring finger, touch. Maybe let that mudra settle right there and just below your navel, and breathe. A few more breath cycles here. You're coming into a gentle ujjayi, soft ujjayi, maybe chanting Vam to yourself. Hope you feel a little more balanced, a little more at ease and fluid in your body. receptive to whatever the day may bring for you. Thanks for joining me today. Let's release our hands. So you can keep them like this if you like, or you can release them into Anjali Mudra as we seal our practice by joining our voices in one Om. The divine light in me honors the divine light in you. Namaste. Namaste. Thanks, everyone. Thank you. So, thanks everybody for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah. I don't know if Jane Temple's still here. Jane, are you still here? Yeah, you are. I see your hand. Oh, it's so funny. Well, we were in my mind, I thought of something. That's why when I think of things, I sometimes like that's why I lose my train of. So I just had a feeling. I was like, Trats, I should have invited Jane to join our work March Madness pool. I forgot to invite you, Jane. Sorry. You would have liked it. No, I know Jane's a big basketball fan, right?
Huh.
So, and you're probably still muted, so I can't hear you. Well, thanks everybody.
Thank you.
Have a beautiful day, and I will see you next time.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.